Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, aka the Blue Blur, aka Blue Justice. And I am Tails here, or simply call me Miles Tails Prower here, and we are back for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. And we're gonna be honest with you guys, I do apologize about the lack of uploading schedules recently, again. Well, this is mainly because of the different topic, but either way. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD for the Nintendo Switch, plus Nintendo Switch 2, all thanks to backwards compatibility. Yeah, exactly, Tails. So, last time, we've essentially manage able to explore into the first half of the 7th world in the game, which appears to be the factory world, and oh no, we actually did that world pretty good, don't you think? Well, except there was actually that one little issue with this world so far, and as of course, we yet again missed out on one of those puzzle pieces, so yeah, we'll try to able to figure something out, assuming we able to actually complete the temple level first. So either way, so today for this video is that we're about to be continuing exploring for the factory world, and as you can tell, we are now going to be entering into World 7-7 Music Madness. And as far as you can definitely tell, this stage is filled to the brim with a lot of contraptions based off of musical instruments. So, and I'm not gonna lie, I really love the soundtrack in this stage, probably because it's a lot more like atmospheric and stuff, and it's also worth noting for too is about the fact that for those of you who've ever experienced the fan-made game called Paper Mario 3D Land, that particular music was actually brought back in that game in, let's just say, in World 4-3, for instance, where despite the fact that we haven't exactly fully experienced the game for ourselves, but we do know for a fact that one of the music tracks is going to be included on Paper Mario 3D Land fan-made game. So yeah, that's something worth noting for. So anyway, allow me to explain about the forms of how the fact that I do, once again, I apologize about the forms of lack of uploading schedules recently, because as to be expected, we've once again got ourselves our illness again, except this time, we actually suffered a sickness bug. And no matter what though, me and Tails have to rest for a while, and it's a bit of a painful process. In fact, I will have to admit though right away that 2025 so far to us though, in terms of content anyway, is going to be more accurately like, I don't know if it's going to be like a dark gauge of the forms of the uploading schedules department for this year in particular, for the Mexi Toys as far as I'm aware, because well, straight to the point though, we got very unlucky when it comes to able to actually catching some illness from time to time. And it's even worse too, is about the fact that we were originally though trying to get back into this game at some point by the end of February, but unfortunately though that's been delayed until recently today by the forms of the 10th of March, in some cases in 2025. So yeah, we have to admit though right away though is about the fact that the actual uploading schedules for the future years and onwards is a bit of a struggle at this point, but regardless of such though, we are still feeling okay for the most part, but not fully 100% yet. So because of that though, so yeah, let us know about the fact that, well, generally speaking, I was about the fact that yes indeed, there are some occasional moments where we managed able to post something in any forms of our community posts. So because of that though, just want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up when it comes to like, well, certain situations as far as you can definitely tell from the get-go. So anyways though, so yeah, a few things we want to talk about is about the fact that, well, there are some new exciting stuff that's been happening. Like, for instance though, is about the fact that ever since around a couple of days ago, that as you probably already know, the Pokemon Presents has already happened, and for my thoughts, it was okay. I mean, it's not the best in the world. I mean, regardless of such though, there are some interesting announcements that somehow brings us into, in terms of the forms of the most recent Pokemon Presents presentation. Like, for instance though, the actual presentation has actually been up for about 19 minutes long, so that's a little bit of a step up from the likes of the forms of how it does it for last year to me though. But regardless of such though, it's about the fact that in terms of the forms of some stuff that it brings us into, like for instance though, they're trying to able to actually bring, let's just say, the stop motion Pokemon anime thing, which appears to be Pokemon Carnage, I think is what it says anyway. And as far as I'm aware, I believe that particular series is about to be coming exclusively to Netflix at some point in September in 2025, the exact same month as the films of potentially celebrating 40th anniversary of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise, which we already on about that. So anyway, the next thing they somehow mention about is, of course, more information about the films of Pokemon Go. So, self-explanatory for the most part, if you really want to catch more Pokemon from all over the world. So, yeah, nothing too special to me, though. And also, there's something worth noting for, too, is that there's going to be some new updates in terms of the forms of Pokemon Masters EX. Like, for instance, though, they're trying to able to actually bring May Champion counterparts with the forms of Shiny Primal Crygor. And on top of that, there's also Brendan Champion version with the forms of Shiny Primal Groudon. So, yeah, I guess that's what I can really explain about that particular update. So, and meanwhile, we've got some more information about the forms of Pokemon Cafe Remix, so nothing ordinary though, really, honestly. And it's also worth noting for, too, is about the fact that 2 new Pokemon is going to be coming to Pokemon Sleep. So, again, nothing substantial to me, though. And also more information about the forms of Pokemon Unite, which, again, nothing right to hum about. But, at the very least, we actually got ourselves some more packs coming up for the likes of Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket Game, which, as a result, I believe they somehow gonna bring us, well, it already came out just recently, and as a result, about the fact that the actual themed booster pack is gonna be more accurately Triumphant Light. So, even though it's hard for me to explain, because then again, it has been a very long time since we actually uploaded something recently. So because of that though, yeah, we'll promise you guys to join at some point in this week, alongside with the forms of next week and onwards, especially about the fact that it's even a lot more embarrassing for Blaziken either way, because, well, straight to the point though, is about the fact that she has suffered a lot of delays in terms of uploading some more parts of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games for the DS version specifically, just because, well, as we stated before, we suffered the forms of sickness bug. So because of that though, yeah, I will classify as saying that 2025 is going to be a dark age for the Mexi Toys department. But everything else though seems looks a bit more promising, all things considered. So, but anyways though, the next thing they did somehow shows us, and that's what it appears to be, Mega Evolution Pokemon cards is going to be coming. So yeah, that's something. And as well as that, some more in-game items is going to be on its way for the likes of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Like, for instance, though, they're going to be receiving a case for your Rotom phone, I think it's what it says anyway, and also mass breakouts for red, green, and blue colored Pokemon, at least as far as I do somehow notice that, and also some more raid battles as far as I'm aware. And yeah, that's all I can really say about this personally. But the 2 highlights for me though are 2 brand new games has been revealed for that particular presentation. Well, one we've already know from the likes of the forms that ever since in last year in 2024, but there's also a brand new game has been in development right now, which are both going to be coming onto the not only iPhones but as well as Nintendo Switch. So it's going to be once again cross-play kind of game. So, for instance though, in terms of the new game they did somehow brings us into, that's what appears to be Pokemon Champions, which it kind of reminds me like a spiritual successor to the forms of not only Pokemon Stadium, but alongside with Pokemon Stadium 2, including the forms of the Japanese original game back in 1998, if I can recall correctly, and on top of that, Pokemon Battle Revolution for the Nintendo Wii. Well, the only difference is this time around though, Sonic, is about the fact that it's going to be releasing on 2 different systems, like, you know, as you said earlier, mobile phones ranging from, you know, iOS Apple phones and Android phones, and in addition to Nintendo Switch as well. So, yeah, it seems kind of strange about the fact that they've never actually mentioned anything in terms of Nintendo Switch 2. My guess is about the fact that I suppose they can wait until the actual presentation is going to be up for Nintendo Switch 2. So generally speaking though, actually, it's about the fact that, well, not long now until the actual presentation is going to be up for Nintendo Switch 2. And I am super duper excited about it. Aren't you really going to be thinking about that, Tails? Yes, absolutely, Sonic, especially because concerning for the fact that, well, to me though, I feel like that most people seem to really excited about Nintendo Switch 2 a lot more in comparison to PlayStation 6, if I can recall. Well, despite the fact that PlayStation 6 is just one of those, again, those rumors and leaks just keeps on popping up every now and then. But apart from those aside things though, is about the fact that we are so excited to see some exclusive games will be revealed for Nintendo Switch 2, alongside with the forms of some occasional third-party games will be supported too. So because of that though, yeah, it's only a matter of time about the fact that we can able to expect to get more games for the Nintendo Switch 2 specifically. So anyway, enough about that. And also we get ourselves our first glimpse of our gameplay footage of Pokemon Legends EA. And on the other hand, I'm pretty much mixed on it. Well, on the other hand, about the fact that the gameplay itself looks remarkably similar to the forms of how it does it for Pokemon Legends Arceus, except obviously though the locale is different. So because of that though, yeah, because it's obviously it's going to be inspired by Generation 6 after all, so it's no longer going to be based off from Generation 4, but I digress. So continue. And on the other hand though, the visual presentation still wasn't all that great, to be honest with you. Like, you can still able to actually see some blowy textures here and there, and it's even bad enough about the fact that I would classify for saying about the fact I don't really think I can probably able to actually get the game after all because of all that. Well, it is pretty exciting though still, but it's just that some people complain about the forms of that particular Game Freak visual presentation all over again, especially because concerning for the fact that at this point in time that we were almost assuming that the Nintendo Switch 2 will become a thing until specifically in the future, but we definitely wasn't really sure about that point. But regardless of such though, is about the fact that it hasn't been given the actual release date yet, which as a result though, it usually did say coming until late 2025, so yeah, it could be the possibilities about the fact that I would classify for saying it might potentially try to be released during at some point in November, just like the forms of how it does it on any other Pokemon games up to this point, although it might be very tricky for this point, Sonic, especially because concerning for that particular track record of that particular process. But regardless of such though, yeah, overall with that Pokemon Presents, it was okay, but we just really wish if there was actually more to it than that. Like, I'm almost assuming they're trying to bring back the classic games into one compilation or something like that. You know, similar to the forms of how it does it for Sonic Origins, and even especially noticeable that recently a brand new remake has been revealed not too long ago. Oh yeah, we'll probably talk more about that later, just because as you can tell, since that we actually got every single puzzle pieces on that temple level, so you know what that means, we're about to head back into one of the levels to find the last puzzle piece, so we'll meet you guys back. Alright, so it's right after the midway point, and suffice to say, we have to definitely try to catch it immediately, because if you don't catch it at all, you will lose it. Alright, so now we're done with that. So now let's go ahead and head over to the next level. Well, it's not so much a proper level, but to be more accurate though, it's just a rocket barrel kind of section taking place in Journey forms of a World 7-R liftoff launch. So because of that though, and this way about the fact that if we do manage to able to complete the stage, we can able to actually get into the boss battle itself. So because of that though, anyway, as you were saying for this point, Tails, oh yeah, that recently though, did you know about the fact that the new remake has been just recently been announced ever since on the 4th of March, and that game in questioning was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 Plus 4 has been revealed. And no matter what though, straight to the point though actually, we've recently picked up the Switch version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 Plus 2 just recently. Not only we can able to give this series another shot, or in some cases another chance, but it's also worth knowing for too is about the fact that we just love to able to get several third-party games that we can play the game on the go for, of course, the Nintendo Switch. So as a result, on the other hand though, despite the fact that we have to deal with the forms of the download install base, likely for instance though with 10 GB storage, if you do manage to update the game, within the game card. Oh, in addition to that though, Tails, we also managed able to get ourselves the actual DLC with it too, by trying able to actually get them on the actual eShop application. So because of that though, yeah, we're very pleased able to actually give Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games another chance. So just to ensure for the fact that the brand new remake of those two games coming up soon, and suffice to say is about the fact that it looks absolutely gorgeous, especially because concerning for the fact that not only is going to be releasing on PlayStation 5, but alongside with Xbox Series X/S, and not to mention though, it's still supporting not only PlayStation 4 release, but alongside with the Xbox One release and PC Steam, and of course, not to mention Nintendo Switch. So yeah, it might be a good opportunity for us though, to able to actually get a full experience of the entire quality of games in remake format in the actual Nintendo Switch system. So pretty cool, huh? Well, mind you, Sonic, though, is about the fact that we'll have to wait and see what happens, just right after April is about to conclude, or potentially speaking, I was about the fact that we'll hear more about, you know, the third-party supportive games during the forms of, you know, Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. So, and as far as I'm aware, I believe that particular Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 plus 4, well, did somehow manage able to reveal the release date for it, and I believe that particular game is about to be coming out at some point in the 11th of July in 2025. Although, we were originally trying to able to actually describe about the forms of more details about that particular upcoming remake, and suffice to say though, there's one little aspect I was really looking forward to when it comes to fully experiencing that particular upcoming remake, and that's what appears to be this brand new level is going to be introduced, and that's going to take place in Water Park apparently. So yeah, that's going to be promising, especially because concerning for that, thanks to that particular cover art that gives us a hint about the fact that there's going to be a new level we can able to dive into, you know? Alright, so here we go, face off against with Colonel Pluck. So either way, so suffice to say though, this boss is pretty tricky still, but that's just mainly because of this unpredictable pattern of that particular machinery movements. So, but apart from those side things though, we should probably be able to try to kick his butt, no problem, assuming of course about the fact that again, we have to memorize the forms of this unpredictable pattern, but I digress. So, and there's also another thing else we'd like to mention for this point, is that unfortunately though, I've heard about the fact that Kermit the Frog did told us about the fact that Tiana, she was very, very devastated and upset at the same time, because unfortunately though, is that for some stupid reason it's about the fact that Disney decides to able to actually cancel one of those projects which appears to be Tiana the series for the likes of Disney Plus. And to make matters worse though, Sonic, is about the fact that for I've also heard that Walt Disney Animation is no longer developing any original long-form content for Disney Plus. And suffice to say, no wonder why that modern Disney is about to go downhill these days, especially because they are so overly reliant of the forms of those pointless live-action movies, because again, they've got to have money. Okay, I think I've already heard about that joke before, especially because anyone knows about this already, especially because concerning for the fact it's even bad enough that Snow White's remake is getting closer to its release. Oh god, we've only got 11 days, aren't we? Yeah, I'm afraid so, but luckily though we are definitely not going to be seeing it, because obviously though we are still pretty much waiting for our DVD release of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So because of that though, that's going to be exciting, you know? Yeah, especially concerning for all that particular points about the fact that, let's face it though, I basically give up on modern Disney stuff now, especially because they are You know what I mean. So, anyway, I suppose there's technically the final thing I want to mention about is that, well, happy Mario 10 Day, everybody. Especially because, well, if you want to experience something Mario related, well, I'm sure enough that was about the fact that you can able to play games featuring Mario. And every nowadays, you can able to actually watch the Super Mario Bros. Movie, the most recent one at the time, which is, of course, the 2023 film. So no matter what, though, let me know in the comments down below for the question of the day. Did you experience something Mario related today for the likes of the Happy Mario 10 Day? Because as far as you can definitely tell about the fact I was very cautious to know of what's going to happen for the likes of the 40th anniversary coming up soon for celebrating the 40 years of Super Mario Bros. When it first came out in Japan on the Famicom system. So, or NES for international release. So either way, again, I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit slightly iffy at some points, but either way, it's nice to be back on this particular routine. So with that being said, folks, is that we get endings off this point right here. Yep, exactly. So join us next time for more Let's Play of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD for the Nintendo Switch. Is that we're going to be moving on to the 8th world, which does manage to take place in a volcano. And this world is going to be very deadly and is also very tough as well. So we'll see you guys until tomorrow. Later, fellas.